This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast that takes a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're chatting with women's rowing first-year coxswain Hannah Herbst, who, despite a lot of experience coxing on the West Coast, had never been on the Charles River until this past Sunday. Plus, field hockey and women's soccer picked up big road NESCAC wins, and the golf teams impressed at the NEIGA Championship on Cape Cod. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The Bates football team traveled to Williams and gave the Eefs all they could handle on Saturday, eventually falling by a score of 24-21. The Bobcats gained 313 yards of total offense and held the Eefs to 265 yards of total offense as sophomore running back Ryan Linsky ran for a career-high 126 yards on the day for Bates. Head coach Matt Coyne looks back at a narrow road loss. Well, Coach, going to a tough Williams team there, and, your guys got the ball with a chance to drive and win the game, right? So that's really all you can ask of your team. What were your thoughts on how the team played against the Eefs?
I thought we played extremely well, physical, disciplined. Our defense, really got back to their identity, what we saw from the first 3 weeks of being able to stop the run. And if you look at that O-line from Williams, it's massive. And they've run the ball on everybody, and they were, the team that was leading the league in rushing. And we were able to really limit them. And then, we were better in coverage, still gave up a couple plays here that were critical plays and critical moments. But, overall, I think, the biggest thing was, we played complementary football, at time more often than not. And, I thought we just really matched their physicality. And for us, that's an experienced team over there up front on the offensive and defensive lines, and I felt that, our guys did a really good job throughout the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. Williams, that running back is averaging over 6 yards per carry on the season. You guys held him, I think, to under 4 yards per carry. What was the biggest key there?
It's just getting back to the basics of being disciplined in our run fits, and we practiced well, all week, and I think that's the biggest thing with the younger team is really emphasizing, how important each day of practice is. And when you practice the right ways, you prepare yourselves mentally without even knowing it, because you've gone through all of your checks and all those different scenarios that we go throughout the week. So we practiced well, and we got to continue doing that. And for us, we're getting better each day, and that's all we can ask as we're going through this process. And I think that was the biggest thing, just matching the physicality, understanding who we are, and just taking away what they do best. I think if you do that and you force a team to play left-handed and they can still beat you, then you tip your hat. But you're going to be in a better situation to win the game.
Looks like Juno had kind of a bounce-back game, 10 solo tackles to lead the way, right?
Yeah, Juno did extremely well. I know he wasn't as pleased with his performance the last couple weeks, along with multiple other people on the defense. So, I think the defense as a whole sort of took it upon themselves this week to get back to, what we are going to hang our hat on, being physical, stopping the run, and trying to limit the explosive plays down the field. And for the most part, we did that very well. I think their longest play might have been 20 yards. I don't, looking back on it, but they gave up 265 total yards. And, for us, it's field position in the second quarter, things of that nature. We gave some short fields. I think that really attested to some of the situations that led for us just to be a little bit short.
Yeah, because you guys outgained them, right? You guys had more yards than Williams did. As a coach, what do you feel like when you see that in the box score, to see your team outgained them, but they just got you on the scoreboard there?
Yeah, I think it's one of those phases. It's the special teams, and it's really the mental errors. It's the controllable ones. Obviously, as I was fired up, I didn't wholeheartedly agree with some of the calls, but you can't always control that. Yeah. So, from that end, that's out of our control. But we had 5 penalties that are in our control. We have an offsides on the first drive, which is a pick that brings it back to the 10-yard line. And, people can say, well, you stopped him and then you scored. But it's different. As a quarterback throwing a pick right away, that changes how he's feeling throughout the game and just our momentum. So that's a bonehead error there. We had another offsides on that drive. Offensively, we had 2 men in motion twice. That sort of put us back in second and longs. That got us off. That led to punts during those drives. And then we have a flinch and a false start on a punt that goes 50 yards, and then we compound that with a 25-yard punt. Mm-hmm. So it's those controllable things that, as you grow and become more experienced, you limit and mitigate those. And right now we just have a few that, are still left, and, while we've come a long way, it's still not there to be able to, completely capture and win the football game. So that second quarter really gave them some short fields. So while they didn't have the yards, a couple of those drives were only 45-yard drives,
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the option offense because, I mean, for Colton in particular, being a senior captain, this is not the offense he was running the previous 3 years he was here. So how have you seen him kind of learn, the concepts, the pitches, and all that?
Yeah, I think we're still in that process. Yeah. This offense is the sky's the limit. We're not even touching some of the things that we can do with it because we have to get, good at what we're good at. But for us, what we saw is, it doesn't matter what you do offensively, defensively. It's what can your players do and what gives you the best chance to win and win-win. And for us, we've seen from the previous year, if you look at just the scores through our first, 6, it's drastically improved, like not night and day. That team, Williams beat us 45-0 last year with the same team, and they're a year older. And now we're at their place 24-21 and we have a chance to win the game. Yeah. So for us, it's all about how do we put our players in the best position to win a football game. And for us, we feel that, here at Bates and what I believe in is we're going to run the ball and we're going to be able to control the clock. We're going to be able to find explosives within our run game. And at times it might be like, well, hey, why are you running the ball on 3rd and 7? Like, I don't care. That's who we are. And it's it works and it keeps us on track and it also limits our turnovers. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it overall, we've been very tight in games because we've limited turnovers. Outside of this week, we've really limited our penalties. Yeah. And so we've played more sound, disciplined football. And that's going to shrink those margins. And for us, we've taken a huge step forward within this offense, and it keeps our defense off the field.
Yeah. Is it still no holding calls on the offensive line, or do we have any?
Yeah, none on the offensive line. We had a couple. We had one on the receiver, so we had one on Surge this past week. So it was the first time we got called for holding all year, and for us, it's bound to happen here or there. Sure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's holding on every play in football, but for us, our guys take a disciplined approach to the techniques and being able to get bodies on. And for us, it's also this offense. You can't be selfish. Everybody's going to touch the ball. I mean, if you look at it, guys that really work their tails off. Jermaine Anson blocks unrelentlessly, and he goes up against linebackers, DNs, and then guess what? He finds the ball and has 6 carries for 45 yards. So that's what happens, and you sort of see other guys being able to what we say is touch the ball, you know what I'm saying? And now you can't focus on a Sergio or a Steve Garrett or, guys that we're targeting that just have been targeting our offense more. So really it creates a lack of selfishness and it creates a complete buy-in. And for us, we've seen how that's changed for us and helped us play with some of the best teams in the league, faster than maybe I would have expected.
Tell me a little bit more about Jermaine Anson because I've seen him out there on the field for multiple weeks, and this past week he finally got the ball a little bit, right?
Yeah, Jermaine's, unbelievable person, first and foremost, individual, just really cares about the team. Unbelievable kid, works his butt off in the weight room, helps with all the things outside of football. But for him, it's more, he just understands, he blocks and he just doesn't care. He wants to do whatever he can to help the team win. And when you see that, you reward that. And that's why he started to get the ball. And you see him, he's got an explosive twitch to him. He's fast, he's one of the fastest guys on our team. And for him, he's starting to, really understand the whole offense, and he's a unique Swiss Army knife because when you can line up somebody there that can block an edge defender and also then take the ball and carry it the opposite way, now it's really tough to really personnel us and what we're doing from an offensive. It allows us to get a little bit more dynamic players on the field to touch the ball. So for him, I mean, he's just a total team guy, and the team respects him, the team loves him, and he cares about the team, and that's what we want in this program.
Great. Now tell us a little bit about Middlebury. I mean, just looking at the stats, they can score a lot of points. They also give up a fair number of points. They're 5-1, so they've had a lot of success. But what have you seen from the Panthers?
They're the champions of the league. They're co-champs last year, and they just took down Trinity, and now they're 5-1 coming up here. And for us, obviously that game last year was tough on our end, and for us, they return a lot. They're very good up front, good defensively, even though they've given up points. Still good defensively. And offensively, they've got a new quarterback in there starting to figure it out. They've got good receivers. They throw the ball. They do a good mix of both. They're a well-coached, disciplined team. I think that's the thing you can say from them. They're going to do what they do, and they do it well. And for us, it comes down to the same thing. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It's do we control our controllables? Do we go out there and efficiently go at offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, and handle our 111s on a consistent basis? We'll be in every game with the opportunity to win. That's just that's the nature of it. If we don't, then our margins are small. So it's a very, where we're at right now is like, guys, we got to play clean football for 60 minutes, whereas, some teams with some other, advantages of experience or players and things like that can get away with a couple more things than us right now, and eventually we'll be there. But for us, we'll never want to not play disciplined, clean football. So really for us, it starts with practice today, and it's a great challenge. You want to take on the best to see where we are at as a program right now. But they played a tough game with Williams, and we went up there and played Williams tough. So for us, it's just about can we make ourselves better? I don't care about Middlebury. I know they're our opponent, but our opponents are ourselves. I talk about it all the time. And if we continue to get better, the sky's the limit. And that's all we're focusing on right now.
All right, Coach. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The field hockey team played a tough Connecticut College team on the road Saturday and emerged with a key 1-0 win over the Camels. The Bobcats are currently ranked 14th in the country and are in 4th place in the NESCAC standings with 2 regular season games to go. Sophomore Haley Dwight assisted on the game-winning goal against the Camels and had a big defensive save in the victory. She joins the Bobcast to update us on the field hockey team headed into Saturday's home game against number 1 nationally ranked Middlebury. Well, Haley, another defensive save for you there on Saturday, this time at Connecticut College. Late penalty corner, you're up 1-0, trying to hang on to the lead. Take us through that play, how it developed from your perspective.
Well, I think after we scored, we just knew there was 5 or 6 minutes left on the clock. And we're like, everything we have, we worked so hard the last week playing defense on the field turf surface, which is so different than ours. So there was so much communication in the back end. Everyone was so low, left hand below the knee, and just when that ball goes in off the corner, it's just crunch time, and everyone's just slow, nothing in, no feet, no corners, and nothing like that. And I am just so used to being on the post and being that last line. So I saw my whole team was ahead of me. Everyone was low, and I just know this ball, if it happens to get through, this is my job. And I didn't expect it to come through because we were playing such good defense, but I saw it and I just hit it out, try not to lift it, try not to cause a foul, and it just happened so naturally. But then the team picks it up immediately, we get it out, and it ended in our favor, so it's a huge relief.
Now, you mentioned multiple times staying low. Why is that particularly important on a penalty corner?
So when I say staying low, I mean legs bent, stick on the ground, completely on the ground, because it's so much easier to move when your stick's on the ground versus when you're upright. And we've worked really hard in it this week. Coach has made it a huge priority, especially for defense, because we want to protect our feet. We don't want anything exposed, and it's just so much easier to move when you're low. It's just, especially on a surface where the ball is bouncing, you need to be ready to move and protect your feet at all costs.
Excellent. So obviously it was a huge defensive save. Bobcats won 1-0. You had the assist on Anna Cody's game-winning goal just a few minutes before that defensive save. So take us through that play.
It was such a difficult physical game, and I kind of think we all realized that the only way either of us were going to score was on a penalty corner. So it's just really important to use those opportunities well. And our corners weren't really working, but we kind of switched it around and had Anna Cody insert, which she never usually does. And I was at the top running pads, which is usually where she is. So she passed it into Amanda, and Amanda, we were just trying to lift the ball to just get a bouncy ball to get in. Hopefully someone can get a touch on it. And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. And I just saw it get deflected off the pads and sent it right back in. And luckily it went through the legs of the goalie, and Anna was there to redirect it. So it was great. And not our prettiest, but it'll work.
And obviously, this was a must-win game for a lot of different reasons. Yeah. I mean, the team is right there on the bubble of the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts on 2 games remaining in the regular season? Hopefully, get a home game for NESCAC tournament. Kind of see how it develops. But I mean, what are your thoughts on how the team's feeling right now?
We're feeling great. I think we knew it was such a huge weekend, and both teams knew. So it's just kind of going into it was whatever team is going to be mentally stronger, who's going to be more gritty. It wasn't down to skill at that point. It was just that surface. You just have to want it more. And I think we proved against Tufts that we have the skill set to compete with high-level teams, and then we proved against Con that we have the grittiness to do that. So I think putting the two together, hopefully this weekend against the top team in the nation, just keep our momentum and just get better and better and prove that when we are in the NESCACs and hopefully the tournament that we have what it takes to keep going.
Well, I saw Tufts beat Middlebury.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is in a long winning streak for Middlebury, and you all showed you can play close with Tufts. Yeah. So logic suggests maybe also, this Middlebury match might be something else. Huh?
Yeah, we're hoping. I mean, we have our forward momentum. They just lost theirs, and it's going to be a battle, but it's going to be really good for both teams. I'm really excited.
And I know we talked earlier in the year, you mentioned that you weren't necessarily used to being on the post at penalty corners on defense before this year, right? And yet you've picked up most of your defensive saves, I think, on penalty corners. So what's that transition been like for you?
I love it. I mean, I think a lot of people would hate that position because you are that last line. It's kind of scary, but I just trust my skill, and we run so many reps in practice, and I love being there. It's such like a nice feeling knowing that like I can have my goalie's back. Like it's not done when it passes her, and I have just worked on perfecting it. I mean, it's easy to get, hard to perfect, and I think. I just am excited to just keep working there. I love it there.
First-year goalkeeper Ava Donahue, first career shutout. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you say about what she's been able to do as a rookie?
Yeah, I'm really excited for her. I think it's a huge deal, and it's really difficult to be able to work with a new unit like that, especially one that's been changing so many times throughout the season, and being able to communicate with them and work together. I know it's really hard for me to even talk to my teammates, never mind her who has to talk to the entire, field because she has the best view from the back. So she's done a great job like being composed and like not being super hard on herself if we're down first or if we get scored on or something like that. So she's done a great job. I'm really like happy for her to continue and see what she can do in the future.
Excellent. Other thoughts you wanted to mention about the weekend or the games coming up here? Middlebury on Saturday and then Colby next week, right?
I'm really excited to like finish the regular season with a bang and then go into postseason, really, and just see what we can do for the team.
Sounds good. Haley Dwight, another defensive save. She's now tied for second in the NESCAC in that category. Another assist as well there on Saturday in a big 1-0 win at Connecticut College on that difficult field turf. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The women's soccer team kept their playoff hopes alive with a thrilling 1-0 win at Connecticut College on Saturday. Senior Abby Alter scored the game-winning goal in the 90th minute to secure the win. And she is our female Bobcat of the week. Well, Abby, first of all, you're a senior, but take us back growing up. What made Bates a place for you coming out of high school when you're looking at colleges coming up from D.C.?
So my family and we always went to Maine for a week in the summer when I was growing up, just for a beach week, and it was awesome. And so when I was looking at places to play college soccer, I was looking throughout the NESCAC and mainly at Colby, Bowdoin, and Bates just because I love Maine so much. And I talked to Coach Joe, and it seemed like the place for me. So, yeah.
What made soccer kind of your sport growing up? What made it your favorite?
So I was actually choosing between basketball and soccer when I was in high school, kind of deciding which one I liked more. But my team, when I was growing up, we had a great run. We won the Virginia State Cup, and that kind of sold me over, that feeling of winning and scoring, and just also a soccer team is a lot bigger than a basketball team, so it kind of gave me that feeling of like family on a team, which I definitely loved, and I've continued to love Bates.
Excellent. Well, now take us back this Saturday here. The game-winning goal in the 90th minute, a header off the corner kick. I saw the video, but kind of take us through that play and how it set up for you.
Yeah, so unfortunately, one of our teammates went down, and so I went back in the game, and we kind of collected ourselves on the field, huddled all together, and we were like, let's do it for her. So 2 minutes left, and there was a kick coming from the side, and then Gabby Monaco was dribbling down the line. It turned into a corner kick. And then I was talking with another teammate of mine, Rachel Suh, when I was in the box, and she was like, honestly, just close your eyes and head the ball. So it came right to me, and that's exactly what I did. I closed my eyes and just hoped for the best, and I guess it worked out.
Did you see it go in? Your eyes were closed?
My eyes were closed, so I didn't exactly see where it went, but I opened my eyes and saw the ball in the back of the net, and everyone was like, oh my God, you headed the ball in. So I took that as a win.
Yeah, and in the 90th minute, too. So, I mean, the team must have been ecstatic. What was that celebration like?
It was awesome. It was honestly disbelief at first, just because this kept our season alive. Yep. We still have a great chance for playoffs, especially with two big NESCAC games coming up. So it was kind of just disbelief. All of us were just really, really happy that we get to keep our season going. Yeah,
certainly. You're one of 9 seniors, is that right?
Yes.
9
seniors.
So what's the senior class like, this group?
It's awesome. We're a very cohesive family. We all talk to each other about everything that we do. We discuss every little thing. We're trying to have a good balance of goofiness to seriousness in soccer, and I think it's gone really well so far.
Yeah, and then, you have senior day this Saturday, right? So what do you think that's going to be like?
I think it's going to be great. We've had such great improvements over the past 4 years, especially with the addition of Russell, a lot of changing circumstances, and all of us have really grown as a team together. We've said that this is the best that we've felt in NESCAC play, out of NESCAC play, but also just team vibes-wise, we're feeling really good and really happy to all be together.
Yeah, and you mentioned Coach Very was the one who recruited you. He's been here since 2019. Take us through kind of what you've learned from him during your time.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's taught us a lot about positions and how we aren't specifically tied to one position on the field, how we're kind of all together, working together. And if someone has to go up, then someone can cover back. I think he's really taught us a lot about how we can build from the defense to make that into an attacking mindset. And I've seen the growth throughout the years. Like, we've been continuously scoring more goals, getting more results in NESCAC play, so it's awesome to see.
And as a senior, you must be pretty enthusiastic about this first-year class that has come in. It looks like they're going to make a big impact, for the future, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is one of the strongest classes that we've had in a while. All of them have something that they bring on and off the field that's just special to them. They've grown into our team. Like, within the first week of preseason, we felt like they were already as close with us as the other underclassmen were. So it's awesome.
You got 3 goals this year. You're tied for the team lead now. What were your thoughts on that?
Pretty happy with that. Definitely want to increase those over the next couple of games to keep us alive. And hopefully going into playoffs also, we can keep the scoring going. And just seeing the ball hit the back of the net is such a great feeling.
Yeah, what's going to be the key to that, you think?
I think the key to it is just continuing to play our game. We just had a formation change, which is more attacking minded. So I think that we've really got our defensive footing down, and now we just need to play the soccer that we know how to play and get the ball in the back of the net some more.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, where does that College win kind of rank for you? Kind of, you got the game winner, but also just kind of in general for the team.
Mm-hmm. I think that this is definitely one of the best feelings that we've had. When we were on the bus back, we were talking about it. We've had a couple of pretty hard losses this year on away trips. It was our first away win, second win in conference play, but first in the month of October. So it definitely feels really, really good, specifically to me and the rest of our teammates who have just been waiting to see the results kind of come into action.
Great. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to share? You're a senior, so I mean, your thoughts on graduating in the spring or anything like that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, it's definitely sad to see to leave this team, especially when it's on such an upward trajectory. But I'm super excited for the future, and I'm really, really looking forward to watching the coming years and seeing how the rest of the season plays out.
All right, Abby Alter, she's our female Bobcat of the week. She had the game-winning goal at Connecticut College in the 90th minute as the Bobcats, as we mentioned, keeping their playoff hopes alive. They are hosting Middlebury for Senior Day this Saturday. Before then, though, you do have a non-conference game Wednesday at Southern Maine, but obviously a big matchup with the Panthers Saturday at 11 a.m. and then at Colby on October 30th. And you can get a win in maybe one of those 2 matches or maybe both playoffs, right?
Definitely feeling both if we can.
There you go.
I think we can. So.
All right, Abby Alter, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The men's golf team competed at the New England Intercollegiate Golf Association Championship this weekend on Cape Cod, and the Bobcats tied for second place out of 22 schools. First-year Sean Resnick turned in a standout performance, finishing a tie for 5th place out of 113 golfers at 1 over par. And he is our male Bobcat of the week. We got our male Bobcat of the week, Sean Resnick, with us here on the Bobcast, talking some men's golf. And Sean, a strong weekend for you and the team there at the Captain's Course on Cape Cod. You were very familiar with that course, I know. Tell us about, playing 2 different courses, though, one 18 on Saturday and a different 18 on Sunday.
Yeah, so I've played the starboard side of it before over the summer, and then I played a practice round for the port side on Friday. So I got a little bit more familiar with the course, but yeah, it's interesting playing 2 different courses for one tournament. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
How do they compare? Like, is one, more hazards, one narrow fairways? How do they kind of compare?
Honestly, they're like the exact same course. Like the holes kind of blend together.
Yeah.
They're super similar.
Gotcha. And then maybe what were some memorable holes for you? Because I know Saturday was a pretty steady round for you. Sunday was a little bit more kind of up and down. Yeah. So take me through some memorable holes this weekend.
Yeah, I'm on the 7th hole of the second day. I hit my driver left into the woods kind of, and I punched out and I had 200 yards and hit a 5-iron to 4 feet, and I made my par. So that was probably the most memorable hole of the tournament because that was a pretty good shot.
Excellent. And, as a first year, I'm just curious, your first, kind of, I guess, season of college golf. Yeah. You have spring coming up. But take us through kind of how it went compared to maybe what your expectations were coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a team, I think we played all right in some of the events. It was great to get a second place finish this past week. And then individually, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good season. Had a few top 10s, a couple top 5s. So, yeah, it wasn't bad at all, and I'm really looking forward to the spring.
Yeah, in this tournament, you were 5th out of 113 golfers. So very large field. I mean, How did that work logistically almost?
Yeah, so it was tee times this weekend, which was great. The shotgun gets a little slow. So it was tee times. So I think they started at 8 maybe, and we were my tee time was 10:18 both days. So there was a lot of golf, and the women's were also on the other course. So like the opposite course of what we were playing.
Right. So you switched then the next
Yeah.
day. And then who'd you play with?
So we played with Endicott, Husson, and UNE the first day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second day we also played with Endicott, Husson, and then Hartford.
Endicott had a pretty strong tournament.
Yeah,
What
they played really well.
What was it like playing with those guys?
It was. I mean, I played with 2 seniors or 3 seniors the second day, and then the first day I was with the 2 seniors from Endicott and Husson, and then another freshman. And they were. I mean, yeah, they were really good players. Kid I played with shot 67 the second day. Yeah, he played well.
What's your best ever round on that particular course? You've played it before.
I think 72.
So this was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I shot 72 in a practice round before, but I think 72.
Excellent. And then, what are you looking forward to? Like, you had this winter period coming up, and then you have the biggest tournament of the season, which is the NESCAC tournament coming up in April. What are your kind of thoughts on how you're going to stay sharp, I guess, over the winter? Being from New England, you're probably familiar with the weather and everything. So what are you going to be doing?
Yeah. So we have the simulator room on campus, which is great.
Right.
I'll definitely be using that every day. And honestly, just getting like as much reps in as possible, and then hopefully try to get outside before our first event and just work on some short game. But yeah, just inside in the simulator room, staying pretty consistent with that.
Yeah, that sim room's in Merrill Gym. Take us through kind of what you're able to do in there.
Oh, it's awesome. So we can play courses on it. So it's a TrackMan simulator. So we can play courses on it. We can like do the range part of it, then like shot analysis. So it has all of the good stuff to help us get ready for the season. Yeah,
I mean, I know there's all sorts of numbers with TrackMan. What are some numbers you're looking at in terms of your swing? What are you trying to do there?
Yeah, so right now, like club path for the most part, getting it pretty neutral, and then like club face as well. So, just pretty neutral throughout the whole winter is what I want to be at. So, I mean, so I can go out and play well in the spring.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned, because I was at a golf sim this weekend, and my club, I think it was my club path or something, was very negative. So it was like slicing every time. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I got to get that more
a little out
zero.
to in. Yeah, exactly.
Is that a challenge for a lot of golfers? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, even like college golfers, like your club path can get kind of crazy sometimes. You just got to try to get back to neutral.
Yeah, certainly. And then what's your favorite course to play on the sim?
Ooh. I don't even know. I really don't. I haven't played that much on the courses. I just use the shot analysis most of the time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. It's a tough question.
And then Martindale is your practice course. Obviously, we were out there the other day with you guys. Yeah. What's that like playing with the guys? Throughout the fall, practicing on that course.
Oh, it's great. I mean, Martindale is awesome. Especially being from New England, like it's kind of similar to the courses that I'm used to, as opposed to some of the guys who are from the South. So I really enjoy that course. And it's a good test to like build your game up because there's 2 different nines, so like the front nine's a little bit different than the back nine. And so it's a really good test to get you prepared for these tournaments.
Sean Resnick, he is our male Bobcat of the week, tied for 5th out of over 100 golfers as the Bobcats got 2nd place there at the NEIGA Championship. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast.
Thank you so much.
The women's golf team also impressed at the NEIGA Championship, taking 3rd out of 11 schools. Senior Maddie Kwei led the way, bouncing back from a tough first round to finish in 5th place out of 58 competitors. Well, Maddie, first of all, what a bounce-back round for you on Sunday there at the New England Intercollegiate Golf Association Championship. I know it's 2 different courses, but what really kind of changed for you think, from one day to another?
I think my mindset, I was able to concentrate much better on the second day in the way that I had hoped to on the first day. And honestly, in the way that I had hoped to this whole season. So I really was able to just concentrate on each individual shot and stay in the present. I did a lot of breathing and, just like breathing techniques. And that just helped me save pars and stay consistent.
Any memorable holes in particular?
Honestly, the whole round, I was pretty focused and I really critically thought about each shot, and especially on the putting green with those long putts, I remembered to count them out by steps, and I remembered to breathe, and just I focused on like the stroke of my putting more than trying to get the ball into the hole, which is kind of what I was more focused on the first day, at least in the first half of my first round on the first day.
Did playing a different course the next day you think help?
I honestly think the second day course is a little bit easier than the first day course.
Yeah.
First day course is a little bit trickier, has more risky shots, trickier shots. a lot more like blind tee shots that you don't know where your ball is going to go. So I just think the second day was an easier course, but I also made sure to have a more concentrated mindset.
Excellent. So as a senior, I know a first year, Isabel Meltzer came in second to you on the team, and I know Sarah Wicks has been doing well also. What's it like to see some of these first years come in and have success right away like this?
It's really amazing, actually. I'm really happy that our whole team is moving forward, and our whole team is dedicated and working very hard, honestly, like all members of the team. And I'm just really happy to see this kind of like stepping stone. I think it'll be really great for the team, and I'm glad to be able to experience having really great first years and having a growing team before I graduate.
Yeah, and well, speaking of that, in the spring, for the first time, the women's golf team will be competing at the NESCAC Championship as a team because they got rid of the fall qualifier where it was the top 4 teams, only they got to compete. So now everyone in the NESCAC is going to be competing this spring. It's in New York, but how excited are you for this opportunity coming up in, I think, early May, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be part of this new decision that the NESCAC has made. So I'm just excited to have the opportunity to play NESCACs for the first time as a team, and instead of just like an individual, which I've done once before. But I'm just excited for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see how it continues to go in the future, because I'll definitely keep in check.
Yeah, I was going to say, you did compete as an individual, I think with 2 other Bobcats also in the same year. So take us back to that experience. What do you remember about that?
Freshman year, when I competed in the NESCACs with Nerea and Alex as individuals, I was really proud of that moment, and I was proud to be able to qualify for that moment. So I'm just excited that now we are all qualified and we can all have that moment together.
Excellent. So what's going to be the focus, now we head into the winter months? I know that we have the sim room here. Are you going to be using that a lot?
Yes. I definitely will be hitting the gym, and I'm going to be reaching out to the other teammates on women's team if they want to hit the gym with me as well. And then, yes, I'll also be definitely using the sim room, especially closer when it comes to spring season. And I'll just make sure that we all stay active and ready for our spring season.
Terrific. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to share on the fall and how it went from your perspective for the women's golf team? I know in the tournaments you got to compete in, the team did pretty well. You had that one hiccup where I think some people got ill, but take us through how the season went from your perspective overall in the fall.
I think the fall season went well. I think I'm really excited for where the team will go in the future. Even though I'm graduating, I'm excited to see where they all go, because I know that we have really great freshmen that came in this year, and I know that a lot of the girls are also growing and also doing well. Besides, like the whole team is continuously improving and doing well. So I'm just really proud of where everyone has gotten to, because I know that a lot of the girls have worked really hard over the summer and during season. So I've seen a lot of improvement in some of the girls, and I'm really excited for them. And I think overall for my game, I stayed consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think I could have done better, but I'm excited that I ended on a good note.
Absolutely, yes. Maddie Kwei here finished 5th out of 58 competitors. Bobcats got 3rd out of 11 teams at the NEIGA Championship on Cape Cod this past weekend, and now we're looking forward to the spring season. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
The rowing teams competed at the Head of the Charles Regatta on Sunday, and the women's first varsity 8 improved on last year's showing by taking 5th place in a field of 34 boats in the collegiate 8s race. The twisty course is a challenge for any coxswain, even someone as experienced as Bates' first year, Hannah Herbst, who has been a coxswain since she was in 9th grade. But she had never had to navigate the Charles before. Herbst stepped up, and the Bobcats are feeling good headed into the winter. Hannah Herbst with us here on the Bobcast. First-year coxswain for the Bates women's rowing team. They got 5th at the Head of the Charles Regatta over the weekend, did the 1V. And Hannah, first of all, I'm talking to Coach Steenstra to preview the regatta. He said that you have a lot of experience as a coxswain. Take us back growing up. When did you first get into it?
So I'm from Marin, California, which is San Francisco Bay Area, and rowing's a really big thing there. There's the Marin Rowing Association, which was the town over where I'm from, and they have a middle school program, which is pretty unique, and it was sculling. So when I first learned how to row, I was a rower, and I was rowing in a single, and I absolutely loved it. And I was convinced that I was going to be a rower. That was my thing. And then come to high school, I go to tryouts, and they told me, no, you are way too short. You are absolutely going to be a coxswain. So I kind of had no say in the matter, but it was something that I absolutely loved. So this is my 6th year of rowing, my 5th of being a coxswain. But yeah, I come from a very big, very competitive program that was able to teach me a lot.
Great. And what was that transition like going into high school to learning how to be a coxswain? Because obviously when you're sculling, there's no coxswain involved at all, right?
Yeah, I think as a coxswain, it's pretty rare that you have rowing experience, but it's also something that's super helpful because it allows you to understand the stroke technically, which is one of my favorite things. My coach in high school is very big on the technical aspects of the stroke and making sure you nail every one of those before you apply the power. So I think being able to have that background of rowing really helped me become a better coxswain and helped me move into that transition. And while it was hard not being able to, actually hold the whole oar and go through the motions of rowing, it was something that was super helpful to have.
Great. And then being from California, what put Bates on your radar in terms of, being a coxswain in college?
Yeah, so I'm originally from New York. I moved to California when I was 11, and I grew up going to summer camp in Maine, so it's always been a very special place for me. But going through the college process, it was pretty rare for my club to go D3, and it was not something I was considering initially, but I came to realize that I wanted to go to school for school and then have rowing be something that accompanies that and is a great addition to that, but not my entire experience. So I started talking to D3 coaches and learning more about D3 schools, and Bates was an excellent fit, and I'm super happy to be here.
So a lot of the rowers you were coxing in high school in your club ended up go D1 normally, it sounds like?
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 20 of us in my graduating class, and me and one other person went D3,
okay.
I believe.
Gotcha. So what's the experience been like so far? I mean, you've only had the fall season, but what's been like for you?
It has been awesome. I absolutely love Coach Steenstra. He's great, and I think he cultivates such an incredible team environment, and especially with our senior captains who have been doing just a great job of keeping a positive attitude on the team, which is something I appreciate so much. After every piece, everyone cheers, "Go Bates!" Yeah, Bates, we all cheer for each other. And it's something that's so different but wonderful to have.
So a lot of experience as a coxswain, but this was your first time at the head of the Charles or on the Charles River at all. So take us through how you prepared for this, because it's a challenging course, right?
Yes. So I was absolutely terrified. I was so scared. It's such a challenging course, and it's very coxswain heavy. And I met with Ollie Celine, who was a coxswain on the 2V last year, and she met with all the coxswains, and she ran us through the course, and that was really helpful. And I just looked at the map a lot and watched a lot of videos on YouTube and kind of mentally steeled myself for what steering that would be like. But also I will say, being in the boat that I was in was an incredible experience. The night before, all the rowers in my boat wrote me letters, kind of just encouraging me and instilling a little bit more confidence in how we would be going down the course together, and how, yes, I'm the one steering, but it was a really team mentality, and that was so helpful and nice to have.
Yeah, because obviously in the spring we do 2K races. They're straight.
Yes.
This one was not like that. Growing up, being a coxswain in California, were there any courses even remotely similar to this in terms of having to really steer?
There were definitely other head races that were similar. And where I rode in California, we did steer through bridges frequently.
Okay.
So it was something that wasn't entirely new, but I think just like the infamy of the head of the Charles was what was super daunting.
Yeah, the name of it and
Yes.
because obviously it's pretty much world famous, especially in the rowing community.
Yeah.
So take us through how the race actually went. Like, were there any close calls under bridges or anything like that?
So we got down to look at the course the day before, which was so helpful because I think you can watch as many videos as possible and still not really conceptualize what it's like. So I had the opportunity to already have seen the two bridges that I was really nervous about, which were Weeks and Elliott, and those are both really big turns to port. And so we got down to the line, and we were in between. Wesleyan was in front of us, and then the Tufts 2V was behind us, and they staggered the start, so we went out alone. And initially, the Tufts 2V was very close to us right off the line, which, you know, we held our course for the first stretch, and it was fine, and then eventually we were able to push away. And we took the turn through Weeks, all was good. And then as we were coming to Elliott, Wesleyan had passed the Smith boat, so Smith was in front of us at that point. And we were pretty much neck and neck, and I told my boat, I basically said, we need to pass Smith before we go through this bridge, and we're going to do it right now. So I can have the inside, and we're going to take the best line possible. And we did, and it was the most amazing feeling. Like, we walked right through them, and then we took the hard turn through Elliott, and then from there, it was just right to the line. So I think the bridges were fine. We were able to clear all the crews that could have been a potential threat, and just walking that Smith 1V was such a good feeling.
And then 5th place for the 1V. Last year, the 1V was in 7th, so this is an improvement of 2 spots. How's the team kind of feeling and the crew feeling kind of afterwards?
So I'm not taking credit for this whatsoever. The night before, someone sent to our team Slack, our team communication thread.
Yeah.
They said, Bates is back, and then an arrow, positive mental attitude. And it was kind of like it goes both ways. Bates is back because we have a positive mental attitude, and we have a positive mental attitude because Bates is back. And right off the line, that's what I said. I said, all right, Bates is back. Let's show him. And I think we did just that. You know, from 7th to 5th is a really good jump. And honestly, it was one of the most positive races I've ever had. The boat felt so good. We were all really moving together. And then when we crossed that finish line, we did it all together. And it was that positive mental attitude. I think we're all just keeping our heads held high. I can't speak for last season because I wasn't here, but Bates is back, and it is because we have a positive mental attitude.
Excellent. And then now you've got the winter where there'll be a lot of erg work for the rowers, I'm sure. As a coxswain, what are your kind of thoughts on what you're going to be doing kind of between now and the spring season?
So I did start out as a rower,
Yeah.
and I love to be involved in the workouts.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I'm excited for, but I'm also excited for just building together as a team. I think one of the reasons our boat and the other two that race in the 4 were able to do so well and get to the Charles was because of everyone beneath us and pushing us to do better. Like, the 1V is fast because the 2V pushes us every day, and behind the 2V is the 4. And I think just that attitude of building each other up to become better and become stronger as a team and individually is something that'll really carry us through this winter season.
Awesome. Hannah Herbst, the first-year coxswain for the first varsity 8 for women's rowing, 5th place in the collegiate 8s at the head of the Charles there on Sunday. Thank you so much for joining the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
A reminder, you can find all the latest Bates athletics news on our website, gobatesbobcats.com, as the football, soccer, and field hockey teams are all at home this Saturday against Middlebury. And next week features some key midweek games against Colby to close out the regular season for field hockey and soccer. We'll keep you up to date every week, of course, right here on the Bates Bobcast.